1 a.m. 12 a.m. Excuse me. Do you guys mind keeping it down?
What apartment are you in?
It doesn't matter. I have a
It does matter. What
I have a
apartment are you in?
3-month-old.
What apartment are you in?
And you guys are up screaming
I
and
don't care. What
karaoke.
apartment are you in?
Where you at?
It doesn't matter where
It
I
doesn't
came
matter.
from.
Well,
It
fuck
matters
off.
that I have a 3-month-old that you're keeping.
What apartment are you in?
Go.
What time
Move.
is it? It's
Because
after
we know
give
everybody
a
around
fuck.
here. What
It's after
apartment are you in?
midnight.
Okay,
I don't
go.
fuck
It's
what time
after
it is.
midnight.
Go.
It's after midnight.
Okay.
Do you guys not have respect for anyone?
We got fucking respect, but it don't fucking matter. We got fucking kids in here, and it don't fucking matter what the f we doing. What fucking apartment
Don't
you
knock
in?
on our damn
What
door.
fucking apartment you in?
Don't
bitch?
them knock on our
You
door.
touch me, you're going to jail.
No,
so
don't knock on our damn door.
Let me fucking
Don't
tell you
knock.
something.
Don't
We
knock
are
on.
the fucking police.
You and Bryson acted in a way that placed this person in reasonable fear of themselves. You can't look at that and tell me that you acted in a reasonable way.
I can't look at
That
this
is
and say that any of
unreasonable.
it's reasonable.
Exactly.
It's not reasonable for her to put it on Facebook. It's probably reasonable for her to call his boss, yes. It's not reasonable to put anybody, y'all, the county, anybody on Facebook,
Well,
for that matter.
unfortunately, when you're a police officer, you're held to a higher standard,
You
which
don't have
you
to
wouldn't
talk to me about
understand.
government or county employees
I know it, but
because
what I'm
my
saying
dad
is,
is one and know
you
how it
want to
goes.
associate yourself with police, you better act right.
I agree, but yeah.
So when
He
you're
just
a
got
police
arrested,
officer,
so
you're
I don't
held to a
think he
higher
is one
standard.
anymore, right?
No, he's not.
Okay.
And you don't have any compassion for that. Pisses me off that your nonchalant attitude.
It's not that I'm nonchalant, like I said. We have sit there, we've talked, we have cried, but it happened. It should not have been handled that way. But what can we do to change it?
Apparently, both of you are going to jail. Give me your full name.
Bryson.
B-R-Y.
B-R-I.
S-O-N.
C-H-A-N-C-E-Z.
C-E-Z.
M-A-R-T-E-L-L. Strickland.
All right, man. I'm sure you have a complete understanding of why you're here, but just go over it with me, if you will.
Left the pool, came home,
What time?
maybe 6 or 7. Got home. We're playing Uno. That's me, Kristen, Aaron, his wife. Sit at the table, at the dining room table. Had my Bluetooth speaker pulled up. We're playing Uno, drinking at the table. The lady came up, beat on the door. Kristen opened it.
What time was it at this point?
No clue. No clue.
Don't know.
Yeah, at this point, I had taken an Ambien. I'm getting ready to go to bed. I don't know what time it was at that point.
So the only people in the apartment at that point...
Oh, and my brother. Sorry.
Who's your
Jozell.
How do I spell that?
J-O-Z-E-L-L.
Strickland?
Payne. P-A-Y-N-E. And I think Aaron and Morgan's kids in the room.
Aaron and Morgan had children there?
Yeah. We're playing, the lady banged on the door. Kristen went out. She was asking, who are you, whatever. At that point, I came to the door and told her, which I can't tell you what I said. I watched the video. It was sent. I mean, people were posting it on Facebook.
You don't recall that
I
incident?
don't recall any of it. I remember I remember the bang on the door. I remember Kristen going to the door. I don't remember. I saw the video, so I mean that's pretty much what I got to go off of. Is
Just the last thing you remember is the bang on the door and
the last thing I remember leaving the pool. I remember.
And that was around 7 o'clock in the evening?
Yes. I remember being at the table, and I remember Kristen going to the door.
Okay. Do you remember what Kristen was wearing that day at the time?
We just left the pool. No.
You just remember she's the one that opened the door?
Yes.
Okay. Did you consume any alcohol that night?
I did.
What did you drink?
Evan Williams.
How much would you say you had throughout the course of the day that would affect you?
Throughout the course?
Yeah. Did you drink at the pool?
Yeah. So at the pool. So I drank probably half, maybe a full.
Fifth? Of like a full?
It's 18. It's not the big one. It's the
Was it
middle one.
750? So it was at 750 milliliters, I think, if I remember correctly. There's the little pints or whatever, and then
It
the
wasn't
next
the
step
pint.
up is like
It's the medium one.
it's not the gallon or the handle.
No.
So it's the one in between. I think those are 750 if I'm not mistaken. And you probably drank a whole bottle throughout the entire day up until this point.
Mhm.
Do you remember anything about the argument? You don't remember what you said or what Kristen said or what was done?
No, based on the video, yes. No, me actually
Remembering
anything, I don't.
Were any of these people in the apartment when the incident happened?
Yeah.
All of them?
Kristen, Aaron, Morgan, and my brother.
Okay. Was there anybody else in that apartment?
Besides the kids?
Yeah, we had a 1-year-old male, and then you said there was another child for these people?
Yeah.
What was the second child? How old?
3?
Male or
Two,
female?
3, female.
Now, in the video, you can hear a child come to the door before it's opened. Do you remember whose child that was?
It's Aaron's kids, I'm sure. Or Aaron's kid.
Was
My
Kristen-
brother. My brother had his kid over as well.
How old is that child?
1, 2, 1.5, 2.
Male or female?
Female. Black.
Okay. You don't recall which child was at the door, though?
I do not.
Did Kristen have any of her children at home?
No.
How many kids does she have?
3.
And none of them had been with y'all at all that day?
And they're with Mark Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
That's the ex?
Mhm.
Okay. Do you remember, because there was when Chester arrived to take a report, they knocked on your door. Do you remember hearing the knock?
I don't. I heard about it the next morning. Somebody came. Aaron stated that somebody came to the door.
So they were in there at the time?
Yeah, they stayed the night that night.
So Aaron and Morgan spent the night. Kristen, you, did Joselle stay?
No.
So that he left.
Mhm.
The four
I
of
heard
y'all-
that. I don't know if he stayed or not.
Was he there the next morning?
It's hard. It's hard to say.
Hard to say.
I don't know.
But you do know Aaron and Morgan.
Aaron and Morgan were there. I don't know if my brother stayed
Where did Aaron and Morgan sleep?
in the kids' bedroom, which is the one by the room, or
The front door?
the front door.
They said they heard the knock?
Mm-hmm.
Did they hear the
Or
announcement?
Aaron said that he heard the knock.
Did he say he heard the sheriff's office say there?
He said somebody was at the door the next morning. Somebody came knocking on the door last night or that morning.
Nobody tried to wake you up and say, hey, the cops are at the door?
Mm-hmm. And even then, I'm out 8 hours.
Okay. Before this incident happened, you said you remember Kristen coming to the door and opening it. Did you start feeling the effects of the Ambien before this? Like you're sitting there playing cards and you...
No. So with Ambien, I could sit there and know what's going on. Drinking or not drinking, I could sit there and know what's going on, and then the next morning, I can't tell you what happened.
Okay.
I could sit
In the moment you're present.
in the moment I'm present, and I know exactly what's, like, I'm functioning. And it takes about 20, 30 minutes, and I'm out. And I can't sit there and tell you, I can't tell you a conversation I'm talking about.
So while you're functioning, you're present.
Mhm.
But the moment, if you were to go lay on the couch, you're out.
Won't know anything.
Okay.
I could sit there and have a conversation on the phone and have no clue the next morning who I talked to or what happened.
Okay.
I mean, she asks me every morning, you remember what we talked about? You remember what we talked? I can't tell you anything. I can't remember being there and fully functioning. I'm awake.
Mhm.
I'm good. The moment I take it, I have 15, 20, 30 minutes to stay up, and can sit at the table and have a normal conversation, and won't know anything after that.
Okay. Do you take it every night?
I take it every night.
Okay. Just one pill a night?
One pill a night.
Does it get you in such a deep sleep you don't even hear your canine barking?
No, yeah, so if she wakes up, she can hear everything. She can't wake me up. There's 8 hours I'm out completely.
Okay.
I won't hear anything. Sheriff's office call, I'm gonna call. It ain't nothing I can do until, I generally take my pill around 9 o'clock. I sleep until 5, and then I'm up. Between 5 and 6, I'm up in the mornings.
You said you drink routinely. Would you say you drink every day? Alcohol?
If I'm not on call, yeah.
Do you think that you have a problem with it?
I don't.
Is it something that you depend on?
No, I don't.
It's just
It just calms me down.
Yeah.
I interact a lot more. If I didn't, I mean, it's nothing that I need, because I can go without it, but it's something that it calms me down, and it, that's what it does.
yeah, I get it. I mean, I'm kind of the same way. If I ain't got
I don't
work,
say that, on the weekends, yeah, I'll drink a bottle, or during the week, come home, and it's, a glass before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
A glass or two before I go to sleep.
But you don't feel it's a problem?
I don't think so.
Okay. Is there any other substances you've used during this time period?
Never.
Um,
You talking about during this?
yes.
No. However, I was prescribed hydros for my shoulder injury
Mm-hmm.
a month ago, or on a call with Coker. But no,
Do you still have those hydrocodone? Do you have some
Or-
of it left?
I think I do.
Okay. Would you mix that with alcohol if you were drinking? Would you
No.
take them?
No.
Have you ever done that and it done anything to you?
I've never taken anything unless I prescribed and if I needed it.
Okay. Wasn't a recreational thing?
No.
Okay.
No, and so the hydros didn't even work, and I went to Georgia Bone and Joints, and I still haven't even picked up that medicine, and that's 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And it probably wasn't even hydros. It's some kind of muscle relaxer thing, and then it was something else, but it wasn't. I mean, it's still in the cabinet. Both of them are.
Okay.
But never have I ever used anything
Recreational.
recreational, and my ACL. You know what I mean? ACL, I use it then.
Yeah. The day that they went to your door, they could smell weed coming from the apartment.
That's the neighbor side. I've called the cops on them, and this is what this come from.
Okay.
All of this come from Mike Knott. Mike smoking weed, and I addressed the situation. I called LaFrance, or I called county, LaFrance, and Bunch came out
When was that?
a few months ago. But there's
Mike is in Mike who?
Mike Rapp is the neighbor, and Danielle, or yeah, I think that's his last name. That's what it is on Facebook.
Are they married?
Yes. Oh no, they're engaged. Danielle, Maniquist.
The neighbors?
Yep.
So when you say it was them, of course, at the time Chester's knocking on your door, you're out.
Mhm.
So you're assuming it was their apartment that the smell was coming from, but you don't know because you were out.
I was out, but
Nobody in your apartment had smoked weed that night.
nobody has ever smoked marijuana in my house around me. Nobody.
Now, just in full disclosure, when you talk about being on Ambien and you functioning while on it, but the next morning not remembering, is it possible that people can say they, while in your apartment, smoked weed and that you just may not remember it?
No, not at all.
Do you remember using the canine to hunt weed in your apartment in front of others?
Yeah, downstairs. It was for them.
Did you do that inside your
Yeah.
apartment?
So when we first moved in, I used him because we smelled a very strong odor that was coming from the boys' room. I used him for the boys' room, the kitchen. I sent him out. He went to that door. Brought him back up.
He went to Mike's front
Mike's
door?
door. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Brought him back up. Went back down to Mike's. I addressed him. He didn't say anything about it. Blah 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 blah. I called the sheriff's office, but at no time has marijuana ever been smoked in our house.
Yeah. But did you use your canine to hunt marijuana inside your apartment?
Yes, and that's when we first moved in.
Okay.
We moved in March 19th, so the dog was used March 19th, maybe March 21st,
What was the circumstances of that? Why did that happen?
because a strong odor of marijuana was coming from inside of our house.
Well, I'm talking about having a physical amount of marijuana inside your apartment and allowing your canine to find it. How did that scenario play out?
Because
Who was present? What was going on?
Kristen was there. I don't know who else was there, but why did I use my dog? Is because it was a strong odor. I used him to make sure that the previous people, because I didn't want it in there, previous people didn't have marijuana or they had it hidden or something.
Yeah.
I used my dog for that purpose.
I understand.
I sent him out because I wanted to know. To be honest, I thought it was probably the next door,
The guy that has the birds.
the birds. I thought it was maybe him, but he ran. He went to their door. I called him back up. He went to their door again. I told Mike, hey, look, this is what it is. I'm a cop. I told Danielle, I'm a cop. I work for the drug unit. I have a K-9. That didn't stop. And then I called LaFrance called the sheriff's office right after. So it's between the first part of us moving in around the 19th of March.
Right. But whose weed was it inside your apartment?
There was no weed found.
But you said that you've used your canine before inside your apartment.
I used my dog.
I get what you're saying, but has it ever happened where there was a physical, even small amount, was there a physical amount of weed inside your apartment that you used your dog to demonstrate where he could find it?
No.
And hunted an amount of weed inside your apartment?
No.
With statements that I've received, supposedly, during some of these get-togethers with neighbors and friends, you would get your canine out at some point and allow him to sniff people and kind of demonstrate what he could do and warn them not to move or they could get bit. Did that ever happen?
Say that again?
During a get-together inside your apartment, had you ever gotten your canine out and demonstrated what he could do as far as searching a human being and warning them not to move or he could bite you, so don't move, and then you allow him to sniff people inside your apartment?
No. Have I got him out for a demo or to say sit, off, or bark? Yes, I have.
Okay.
To sniff for any kind of dope, he's going to bite because he's when he sit or when he alerts on anything or come into an indication, he actually bite.
Okay.
Never have I ever brought him out to sniff anybody, to do any kind of searches inside the house. However, I have brought him out to, sit, off, bark, and that was, that's to Aaron, Mike's. I've done it to Mike before.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing,
Just kind of doing commands with him. Do you ever recall, and I'm not real familiar with your dog. It's obviously a bite dog, a patrol dog.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever do anything like that with children present, where they don't understand completely that they can't scream and run? Do you remember?
Not due to her kids. Like they can't run in there because he's gonna bark in the cage.
Yeah. Did you guys have a conversation with the kids about, this is what you guys have to act like around the dog? And
you can't don't put your fingers in there. Don't run in the house, because any kind of movement that he sees that is something's going on, he's gonna jump and he's gonna start barking. So yeah, I have explained that, and Jessica come over with her kid. You can't run in the house because Badoo's he's gonna bark.
Mm-hmm.
With Danielle's kids, Aaron's kids, don't run in the house. Yeah, I do explain
So
that.
it's kind of like a house rule. If
Yeah.
you come up, make sure
Don't run
kids
at
don't
him,
act crazy.
and I don't want to be responsible for a bite, so don't go near him. Her kids can be in the living room now. Any other kids, any other people, while he's in that cage, he's kennel crazy. So anybody that comes in, don't touch him. Don't go near him because he's going to bark,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to try to get out, and he will bite.
Where do you keep the canine?
In the living room.
Inside the living room?
Mm-hmm.
In a kennel?
Mm-hmm.
Is it about the size of this table almost?
Mm-hmm.
So if Mike was to say he had smoked weed on your porch before with you in their presence, and you told him, that you liked the smell of it and that it was fine with you, what is your answer to me asking about that?
No.
That never happened?
No.
And I have seen in different cases the effects of Ambien. I mean, people get behind cars and drive and wake up the next morning and don't know what they did, And you, by your own testimony, say that it can allow you to be in the moment, but you may not remember in that moment the next day. You may not remember what happened. Is it possible, or could it be that this happened and you don't recall that happening because you were taking Ambien every single day, every night?
Yeah.
Had you ever had them over, Mike and Danielle, and had already taken Ambien like you did this night?
Yeah.
Had they been over visiting, and you had already swallowed Ambien, and they were still visiting, and maybe you guys hanging out and drinking or whatever?
Yeah.
That's happened in the past?
Yeah, drinking or them coming up
Yeah.
for some reason.
And then being there late enough that you've already taken your Ambien, and you're still kind of hanging out with them. Did that ever happen?
Yeah, it probably has. I can't tell you.
That's why
It was before. It was I can tell you. Yeah, they have came up before.
And you'd already taken your Ambien.
And I've taken an Ambien before, but whether, I mean, they're sitting in there smoking, no. I can't say that.
Yeah. So, it's not necessarily, and they could be lying, but it's not necessarily, we're not saying that they are lying yet, because it's possible them, during their visit, you had already taken your Ambien, and maybe they did what they said they did, which they're admitting that they smoke weed from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't lie about it. They didn't beat around the bush. And that they say, yeah, we smoked in his apartment. We would go out on his porch. Kids weren't present. We would never do that around kids. And he had told us that he liked the smell of it, and we'd go out on his porch, and he'd just hang out and talk with us. And I asked him, well, did he ever smoke it? And they were like, no, he would never smoke it, but he didn't mind being in the presence of it.
The only time that they came up there was us cooking out or us drinking. It ain't never been...
Do you remember them smoking on your porch?
No.
Okay. And you don't recall, because Mike was pretty adamant. There was one time that you took a little dime bag that he had and you hid it in the kitchen drawer in your apartment, and they were out on the porch, and you released the K-9 to show them that he would go straight to it, and he said sure enough, he went straight to it and found it. And he said the command was go find your treat or some. He couldn't recall exactly what you said, but you said something to the dog, and he went right in and found it. And you're saying you don't recall that?
No.
Okay.
I've called the cops on him for smoking.
Yeah.
It's not going to be at my house.
Right.
Do I smell it every day? Absolutely. Have I saw their vape pen before? Absolutely. My friends and them came out, and it was him and Bunch both said they don't smell it. Her mom's been over here before, and it's in the bedroom. Their bedroom is right underneath, or Danielle and Mike stays right underneath the boys, and the marijuana smell is in the boys' room.
Okay. I know you took a piss test yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing in there that's gonna pop.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Does Kristen use drugs?
No, she does not.
Is she a recent graduate of drug court?
Family treatment.
What's the deal with that?
Family treatment is kid stuff. It's a civil court. It's for kids. Her and her baby daddy got in some trouble.
What kind of trouble?
I think Schedule 1 pills. It was pills. And to intervene, DFACS put her in family treatment court. It's not drug court. She'd be able to tell you more about that than I can.
So was she arrested for that originally?
For,
you said she was in trouble with some pills.
I'm sure, yes, I'm sure she was arrested for something. I don't know what she was arrested for. I didn't know her then.
Okay. How did y'all meet?
Her dad.
Just out in public, or how did that come about?
She used to work at Six's.
Okay. And you used to hang out at Six's?
Used to go to Six's, so we got in and told I can't go to bars anymore, so. A fight that happened in the city over at Tom's place, and the sheriff told me not to be at any bars in the county anymore.
Okay. How long ago was that?
A year and a half, maybe.
Okay.
So we met. Her dad told me about her. We started hanging out, and that was it.
Did she ever tell you that she'd been arrested before? What did she tell you?
She got arrested for shoplifting at Walmart, and she ended up taking the charges for pills or something. I can't remember.
Okay. Did she ever tell you she was arrested for marijuana?
Yeah.
Never?
Yeah.
She was arrested for marijuana at some point. You've never seen her smoke weed?
She, no, she don't do any drugs, and you can piss test her, you can do whatever. She doesn't do anything.
But had you ever seen her smoke weed?
No.
Okay. And you know as well as I do, doing drugs and occasional at a party, yeah, I took a hit on a joint is
Oh,
different.
absolutely.
You've never seen her do anything like that?
She's at family treatment. She got a drug test, random drug test, plenty of times. Never have I ever saw her do drugs.
Okay.
Never do I believe that she will ever do drugs while she's with me.
Okay.
And I'm confident enough to say that she'll consent to a drug test, and she'll pass. She's never done she has not done or gotten any trouble since she's been with me.
Okay. Is she prescribed any medication?
She's not.
On that day, was she drinking alcohol?
Yes, she was.
How much would you say?
She had tequila. So
like
it was
same
Coa.
size bottle?
No, it's smaller than mine.
Okay.
It's Coa.
Cola, is that the name?
COA. And that was her, my brother, and Morgan drinking
Out of
on
the
that
same
tequila.
bottle. Do you remember how much was drank that day?
I'm sure the whole bottle. But she haven't drank in so long. She just started drinking October 2nd.
August 2nd?
Yeah, August 2nd, sorry.
August.
I get water. Get one.
Yeah, absolutely. You need water?
Please.
You good?
Thank you. But yeah, so they all shared the tequila. That was it. That's all she had to have was that tequila.
And she didn't take any medicine or mix any kind of substances with the alcohol?
No.
Do you remember her behavior during this incident at all?
Well, at the pool, she was good. At the house, I mean, it wasn't anything crazy. She was loud,
Yeah.
but nothing crazy.
So when the neighbors initially started complaining about the noise, do you remember getting a message from Mike saying, "I'm not trying to be a dick, can y'all keep it down"? You woke the kids up.
No, I saw it that morning.
The next morning?
I saw it the next morning.
You don't remember seeing it that night?
I do not.
You know if Crispin saw it?
I don't
Because
know.
I think it was in a group message.
Yeah, we were all in a group thing.
They could see what I'm getting at is they saw where
That it
somebody
was
read
red.
it.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
it
but
was-
you don't remember reading it?
until the next morning.
Okay. You don't know if Kristen read it?
I don't.
Do you remember hearing Mike or the neighbors downstairs bumping on the door, on the floor saying, basically saying, "Hey, keep it down"?
No.
You don't remember that?
No.
Do you remember after that somebody immediately stomping on the floor to kind of return the favor?
I don't.
By Mike's statement, he sent the message. He saw where y'all read it, and then he said another short time went by and it didn't slow down, so he bumped on the ceiling, and immediately whoever or everyone up there stomped on the floor so bad that it knocked one of his pictures off the wall and scared his 8-year-old daughter was awake at that point, and scared her or whatever, and that's when they decided that if it continued to midnight, then somebody was going to have to say something. So, but you don't recall people stomping on the floors or anything like that?
No.
Were y'all dancing around the apartment at the time, or?
No. We had a small speaker. It's a Bluetooth. My karaoke machine was there. The karaoke machine wasn't playing. It was a small speaker. I had the karaoke machine at the pool.
Mm-hmm.
So we weren't dancing. We were sitting at the table. I don't know what we were doing at the table. I remember being at the table. But no, we weren't dancing.
Okay. So you were sitting at a table?
We're sitting at the table. It's in the dining room, and it has a bench, 2 and 1.
Okay. Do you remember what was playing? The music?
I listen to everything. I don't know.
Okay. Who is Red Slippers? Did you see?
Anyone?
This is Kristen. This is Joselle, right? Mm-hmm.
What fucking
But
apartment?
behind them,
What fucking apartment you in?
there's work
Eric.
boots and slippers, or red shoes.
Morgan.
Okay.
Touch me, you're going to jail.
No,
So
don't knock on my goddamn door. Don't knock.
Is that Kristen saying that?
Don't knock on the door.
Okay, heard.
Don't knock on.
Is that the video you saw already? The entire thing? I know that's embarrassing, man. I mean, are you embarrassed at all? What do you think about that?
I mean, it was. If I knew, if Mike and them would have came up there instead of some random person that I didn't have no clue of who it was, and they're just saying that they live here, it would have been a different thing. If some random person came up and said, what she done, I would have said the same thing. I didn't know who she was, and I figured that she's saying that our music, or we were doing something that we weren't supposed to do from being at a different apartment complex. I've never saw this lady before.
Right. On the flip side of that coin, Mike and Danielle asked her to do that because they didn't want a confrontation with her neighbor. And she was an out-of-towner staying the night with them. And their idea was if she goes up and just tries to stay as anonymous as possible and they turn down the music, then problem solved. Nobody gets their feelings hurt that the neighbors asked for the music to get turned down. So there's your side, and then there's a flip side. And, sober minds are always going to err on the side of maybe that's how it should have played out. So, you could tell from her demeanor, she wasn't confrontational. She didn't knock like the police or anything. She knocked and then said, "Can you please turn the music down?" And from their account, their statement, they were they were sober. They were trying to think of this as we know he's the cops, we know he's the sheriff's deputy, and we don't want to get him in trouble. And they were trying to do it without calling 911 and having a deputy come up and knock on your door. But they didn't want to do it themselves because they were worried that, there would be a fallout, being that y'all are neighbors. So that's the flip side of the coin.
If we have any issues, if the boys are running, they're right on and say, hey, can y'all keep it down? Liam's in Liam's trying to go to sleep.
Right.
You know,
Which is what they did earlier when they sent the message and said, hey, keep it down.
or they would come up. You know what I mean? If their stuff is too loud, or they're, we're right on Facebook, or we'll go down there, hey, on the back porch, hey, Mike, hey, and then it's that, that part of it. It's not like we've not said anything to each other. If it was an issue, we come up and we say whatever we got to say, and it is, all right, it is what it is. I didn't see the message. I had no clue who this lady was.
Mm-hmm.
And she's saying that she was a neighbor.
Do you remember, I mean, she's obviously barefoot, and looks like she may be in some type of pajama clothing. Maybe I saw the body cam footage later, and it looks like she's wearing like an oversized T-shirt and pajama pants. Do you remember that? Her looking like she was probably in bed or anything? You don't remember any of that? Do you remember now seeing this video? Do you remember any of this confrontation other than seeing Kristen open the door?
No.
Do you remember pulling the door open further?
No.
So now that you see that and you say you would have done it the same way again, or you would have, looking at that, do you not see a life lesson here that maybe you would have done it differently if you had the opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't have done, I shouldn't have cussed at her, but I had no clue this girl was, and...
But with your training,
Mm-hmm.
what's the first line of use of force?
Verbal.
Well,
Or officer presence.
And she had prior knowledge that you're an officer, okay? And you're a big guy. I mean, just by your appearance, you're somewhat intimidating, especially to a young, small lady. Can you see where your presence might have been a little intimidating towards her? I mean, if I'm in her shoes and I knock on a door, and at first I politely ask, can you just turn your music down? You woke my babies up. And then the female that answers gets that aggressive first, right off the bat. But then you come open the door big, wider, and you're just as aggressive. Now I've got two people in my face, really aggressive, obviously drunk, and knowing that this one here is a police officer. Some people are just scared of the police anyway, you know that, and they're intimidated. Sober or drunk, it don't matter. If they know you're a cop, they're intimidated by you. But with that air that you had, that very aggressive, cussing, and then when you step to her like that, can you see where she might have felt intimidated and scared?
I think that with her not knowing who it was, that's the reason I came to the door. When I identified that she was not a neighbor,
Right.
I had no clue we had no clue who she was. And when she's opening the door is, who are you? Who are you?
Right. But
I don't think that I intimidated her by coming to the door. I think with this video, Kristen's in the background. She's going crazy. She's going off or whatever. And I'm stepping out to intervene or keep her from coming out. So I did step out. I don't think I intimidated her by getting her, but, yeah, because you see Kristen you see Kristen trying to get out the door.
Oh yeah, but in their statement, you did nothing to stop her. The actual person that stopped her is your brother, and then they said they saw a black female come out and put her arm around her and pull her back in the apartment. And you said that's your brother there with the slippers on, and you can see him get between Kristen and this girl, and the way his feet turn, he goes back towards the apartment. So they said that in that moment you did nothing to put an arm up. She
I'm in the
said
doorway and
you had
she
your arms
came.
up like this, and not like going towards her or anything, or pointing at her, or, you know, anything like that. But she said you had your arms up, and she was shocked that when Kristen got out of control, there was no effort on your part to address or at least separate. You were somewhat frozen in this position and saying, "Don't knock on our GD door. Don't knock on our GD door." And it was just a repetitive. And then that's, you know, and the people, it would have been, from that video, it would have been your brother and then Morgan that brought Kristen back in the apartment, not you. They said they saw a black female there also. Do you know if there was...
If it was a girl there, if it was, it's either Chelsea or Shanti.
Because supposedly
I can't.
the black female's the one that really took Kristen and back into the apartment.
So they weren't. Gator wasn't at the pool with us.
Who is Gator?
My brother, sorry, Joselle.
Joselle.
Yeah,
Okay.
Gator wasn't at the pool with us. That I recall. So it's if it's either Shanti or Chelsea
Who are Shanti and Chelsea?
as both of his girlfriends.
Do you have a number for Joselle, by the way?
770-881-3802.
What about Aaron and Morgan?
I don't have my phone, but I gave it to Captain Clark.
Okay.
I gave it Aaron's number. I don't know more.
Does Kristen have it, you think?
She has Aaron's number.
Okay. Joselle's girlfriend.
Shanti, or it's Shanti, and the other one is Chelsea.
Both black females.
Mm-hmm. So if they were there, that is one of those two.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this girl's obviously saying that she was intimidated and scared in that moment. Of course, afterwards, she was pissed. I mean, anybody would be. I would be. I'm the police, and if I get mistreated by the police, it pisses me off more than anything. You know, I see in, you know, daily life, you'll see when you're not on duty, you might be on a trip somewhere, and you notice, you know, that guy might be using his authority a little bit too much when he shouldn't, you know, and that makes me madder than anything. Just because they use their presence as a, putting themselves on a pedestal, and we're really not. We're just no better than the rest of us, obviously. I mean, you're in that chair right now. Last week I gave you a hug over in the warrant room, you know what I mean? And God, I would have never thought this would be happening. And it could be me in that chair tomorrow. Who knows? But that's not good, man. And that's definitely not how it should have been handled. And honestly, we wouldn't be here if Kristen and you had simply said, "Okay, we're sorry, have a good night," and then turned it down and went on about your party. You know, turn it down a little bit, be a little more mindful. Y'all live in an apartment. None of this would have happened. The fact that y'all didn't recognize her as an apartment occupant doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. All you know is there's a lady in her pajamas, barefoot, standing at your front door asking you to turn it down. And it is late. I mean, it's after midnight. Maybe you should turn it down. Don't matter if she was out in the parking lot standing by a car and heard your party and went up and asked you to turn it down. I mean, obviously, you know it's time to turn it down. It's after quiet hours in Bartow anyway. If the cops come out, they're going to tell you the same thing. You've done that before. You had to go out and shut a party down or ask them to turn it down. You do it. You know, we all have at some point. So the fact that you didn't recognize her is really irrelevant. You know, that shouldn't have happened. You want some advice from me? How long have you been in law enforcement?
7 years.
7 years. 7 years of your life. 7 years. You, by all accounts, are a good officer. I mean, you're a hard worker. You're a go-getter. Physically, you're the appearance of what an officer needs to look like. You know, you're accomplished. You got a K-9. You had your whole life ahead of you, your whole career. And in a single moment, it all got thrown away. You know that, right? And what for? Alcohol? I like to drink. I mean, and I'm not no better than you. I mean, we've been in the beer store together before. You know, back when I used to live on Grassdale Road, I used to use the same liquor store you do. At some point in your life, you come to a crossroad where you decide, is it going to control me or am I going to control it? That's all it is to it, okay? If you're drinking a bottle of liquor more than once or twice a week, you may want to reconsider your habits, your recreational habits. Alcohol will get the best of you every single time. If alcohol wasn't involved, this wouldn't have happened. You're a good dude. You know, you don't just blow up, you know. You're not like one of these guys out here that you've got to keep on a leash all the time at work. I mean, people trusted you enough to do your job, that you were an independent officer and you went out and did your job without question. You know, people trusted you. If alcohol, if you hadn't consumed that much alcohol, you wouldn't be here now. You know that, right? Second, I don't know what kind of person Kristen is, but you know as well as I do, as a police officer, you have to be very, very, very careful of who you hang out with in your off time. I mean, the moment you find out she was possibly involved in any kind of felony narcotic issue, might have been a red flag. You know what I'm saying? To pay close attention to. And her behavior, I know that you said she had just started drinking again because of the program she was in, but there's no real excuse for the way she acted. You know, I mean, we're adults. You're how old?
28.
How old is she?
25.
So we're not 18-year-old kids in high school now fighting in the hallways. You know, I mean, her reaction is way out there, you know, way beyond yours. Yours was out of hand too, but her reaction to this lady who simply just asked to turn the music down was uncalled for. I mean, you heard her. She made the statement, "We are the fucking police, bitch." And she ain't no fucking police. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And for her to think she is, tells me a lot about her character. You know, I mean, she thinks that she's going to be able to get away with something just because she's with you, which tells me she's using you as a pawn in her plan. You know, I mean, someone that's willing to put your career on the line, they don't care much about you, if you ask my opinion. You know, a good woman there's no price to put on a good woman. And the woman that you choose to spend the rest of your life with is going to stand by your side and support you and build you up as a police officer, not use you as an excuse for her behavior. You know what I mean? And that's exactly how she was reacting to all this. She thought that because you were who you were, she could do whatever she wanted to do. And, you know, had the brother and the black female, whoever it was that pulled her back in, had they not been there, I think Kristen would have jumped on that girl in that moment, you know. She says that she was pushed by Kristen initially, which you know as well I do, that's simple battery. But luckily these people jumped between her and didn't let it get any further. I hate it happened, man, but it's at this point that you're going to have to reevaluate your life decisions. You know, you're at a crossroads right now, and which way you go is up to you, but alcohol's got to get under control. And I would look at my relationships a little closer. I mean, it's not worth it, dude. You know? I just hate it. Shouldn't have. The next day, did you wake up and say, WTF? Could you kind of remember something might have happened but you couldn't remember?
No, when I woke up, I saw the message. I remember the door opening, and we talked about it. Aaron came in and told us what happened,
Okay.
or told me what happened. So, yeah, I did. I did wake up and say, yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah.
And that was Sunday.
Yeah.
Did you do anything about it Sunday? Did you ever try and go downstairs and knock on the door and say, hey,
I had no clue who to. I didn't know who had called.
Okay. But you saw the message.
The message
from Mike.
on Facebook.
Did you go down there and say, hey, what happened?
No.
I don't remember the message.
No.
At what point did you realize this might be a little bigger than I thought?
Derek Bentley texted me and said, are you good, bro?
When was that?
Monday morning at 2 o'clock.
2 a.m.?
Mm-hmm.
Were you up at the time, or
Yeah.
had you taken an Ambien then?
Yeah. And I woke up, I read his message around 4 or 5. I didn't get it, and I responded back around 4 or 5,
By the time
4:30ish.
you getting ready for work?
No, getting ready for the gym. I text back and asked, I said, yeah, what happened? Because Sunday we were out on the boat off Sunday.
Okay.
So I didn't know anything, and then I woke up and I read Derek's message at 2:34, 2:54, something like that, asking, are you good, bro? And that's when I knew that, okay.
This was Monday morning getting ready for the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Did you call him?
Mm-hmm.
Did he tell you what happened, or?
And at that point, people started, the video was
That's when you seen everything on Facebook?
Yeah. videoing.
Did you, at that point, make contact with Mike and Danielle downstairs?
I did not.
Did you try to find the report in New World?
I read the report.
Okay. Tell me about all that.
When Derek sent that morning, I got up, I looked at the call, I saw the report.
On your mobile computer?
Mm-hmm.
Was it in your truck or in your apartment?
In my truck.
Okay. In your truck being your K-9 vehicle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I knew that. I was like, I read the report.
Was Kristen present with you when you read it?
She wasn't.
Did she look at your computer at any point while you were reading the report?
No.
Did you tell her about the report and
I
who did the report?
She, yeah, I told her, Mike and Danielle called the police on us.
Okay. What was your thoughts for that? Why did you do that? You know that's a violation of policy, correct?
I didn't know it was a violation of policy.
I mean, you're accessing the police database and giving information to a civilian non-police officer, who then turned around and sent harassing communications to the people that made the report. Did you know she did that?
Mm-hmm.
Were you present when she did that?
I was not.
How did you know she did it?
She sent me a screenshot of it.
Okay. What did you think about that?
Like I told her, don't be doing that.
Yeah. Again, she has no regard for you and your career. if she's going to do that. Because you know as well as I do, you've been in this long enough, you know that's not cool. Right? When you check the report, did she send you out to check it?
No.
How did she come into, when you go out to the truck, you look in the computer, you see the report. Did you go up and take it upon yourself to tell her, I looked up the report, Mike and Danielle did it?
No, I called. I was already leaving the house for it from the thing, and I called her and said, Mike and Danielle. That was Mike and Danielle that called.
Okay. And you told her all about the report?
No, I just told her Mike and Danielle called us, or called the police.
And then Kristen, did she take it on herself, or did you ask her to get in touch with them?
No, she took it upon herself to get in touch with him.
And then
After that, I told her, you shouldn't have done that.
Right. What did she say?
Yeah, I can't recall. I mean,
Was she defiant? Because honestly, just in the little bit of time I've seen her, she seems a little defiant, a little hard-headed. What was her demeanor like when you said, hey, you shouldn't do that? Was she like, fuck them, I don't give a shit about them? Or was she like, oh, I'm sorry, babe, I didn't mean to?
Yeah,
I didn't mean to
I'm
mess
sure
you up.
it was more the first one than the second one.
You think? People that I've talked to that know y'all say that she's kind of hot-headed, and she's that way. That's just who she is. Is that correct? You know her probably well as anybody.
You know, she gets upset, she gets upset.
Yeah. Has she ever been involved in an incident in your presence before like this?
No.
There's never, I mean, you said there was a bar fight at one time. Was
Yeah,
she
it wasn't-
involved with that?
No, it wasn't her at all. It was me, Tyler Pilcher. Well, we weren't involved. We just saw it and we're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Me, Tyler, Victoria, and Tyler's fiance, baby mama, that works in the jail. But she wasn't. It just happened at Tom's place, and all that was us watching it, or us being there, seeing it, and no involvement with us. And we didn't do anything but get up out of there, and that's what that came from. It wasn't her at all.
Okay. So as far as you know, when you guys have been in this relationship together, she's never been that way towards anyone?
No.
Does it surprise you that she reacted that way?
Yeah. I mean, she speaks her mind, but if she, I mean, like you said earlier, I mean, alcohol, I mean, that's, as a person without alcohol, she's a totally different person.
Yeah. Really, I think we all are at some point.
Right.
Is there anything else you wanted to say? I just hate this, man. I hate it. Hang out for me and I'll be back, okay? I think Captain Clark wanted to talk to you before all this ended up.
When I'm done, you bring them back.
Just hold them in your office.